everyone, it's Nicola Cairncross. Today I want to talk to you about entrepreneurs and what stops ordinary people getting started with building a business. I've realised that there are an awful lot of people who are going to be losing their jobs over the next few years, and I wanted to become the resource for aspiring entrepreneurs as well as extraordinary entrepreneurs. I've got some extraordinary clients, that's for sure, but over the years I've mentored many hundreds of ordinary people who are aspiring entrepreneurs and who want to take their expertise, their knowledge, their experience, something they know how to do better than anyone else, or just stuff they've learned about over the years, or what even they've been doing in their job that they're really very good at, and who want to make money from that online. I've had incredible successes. There was one client who made something like £5,000 from an ironing a shirt video on YouTube. I gave her the idea to just do something ordinary, and she went and did it and made a load of money out of it. There was another client who worked in an African charity. In fact, she founded an African charity. What they were doing was they were teaching children good health practices to take home to their villages and their families. So the kids would come to school, they'd teach them stuff about how to be healthier at home. And so she wrote a book actually on how to help teachers working in charity schools in Africa. Showed her how to make a simple website. I showed her how to set up the payment thing. She put it on the website, and she came back about 3 years later to find it had made about 130 grand. So that was really quite amazing. But there are lots of people who haven't had such spectacular successes. There are lots of people who just made a bit extra every month from what they knew, what they were good at. As I've been writing about the people who are either going to lose their jobs through AI or lose their jobs through the imminent financial collapse, then I was thinking, how can I help those people become aspiring entrepreneurs and then a better entrepreneur, which, as you may know, is the name of my new book. I know that there are people out there who like lots of detail. There are people out there who like to know how things are done properly, but and the information is there for those people. But I also want to teach you the rough and ready way. I'm pretty good at marketing businesses offline, but I'm better at marketing businesses online. So I've literally roughed it out on the back of an envelope, as you can see. So I'm going to go through it now, and then I'm going to turn this video into a giveaway on my website. So number one is mindset. If you don't have the right mindset, nothing you do afterwards is going to work, because you have to believe that something will work for you. You have to know that it might not happen immediately, but you have to believe it will happen eventually. And that will keep you going when perhaps the first thing you try doesn't work. Now, I've got a mate called Andy Shaw, and I've interviewed him on this channel not so long ago, actually. He's actually the mindset king. I mean, he really is amazing. He's written 3 books already. One was a property best-selling book. The second one was divided up into 2 parts. It's called The Bug-Free Mind System. And the first book is all about how to create a bug-free mind, i.e. get the bugs out of your mind that you've already got. And one is how to use a bug-free mind. So do check out those interviews with him, and then go and check out the books on Amazon. They're absolutely amazing. They changed my life. And I'm not joking. When I got rid of absolutely everything to go to Greece, they were the only 2 books I took with me. It'll get your mindset straight, and when you go through the down times, as we all do, it'll help you look up the correct chapter and just read that one chapter, and you'll be able to crack on with what you're supposed to be doing. The second thing you need is an audience, or a hungry crowd, as it's sometimes known, or your ideal customer, as I sometimes call it, because a lot of people don't know who that should be, and they try and market to everybody. And you can't market to everybody. You have to market to one person. You've probably got some idea of what you're going to sell, or what product or service you're going to offer. And if you don't have any idea at all, there is a video down below somewhere that says how to start a business with $0. I think that's the title of it. Knowing what you're going to offer is a great thing, but you have to know who you're going to offer it to, because that will help you get in front of large numbers of them. Hungry crowd, remember? And if you don't know what you're going to offer, then it's a good idea to come at it from the other point of view and think, where is there a large hungry crowd who isn't having their needs satisfied right now? And what can I do to help them? That's a great way to think about it. So the first thing is mindset. The second thing is an audience, or a group of ideal customers, or a large hungry crowd. And then the third thing is you need something to offer people. Now, don't worry, I'm going to give you my list of resources at the end. So I've got something for every one of these 5 steps to recommend to you, and most of them are free. So stick around for that. when it comes down to a product or a service, if it's a product that you're actually making, so for example, it's an artwork or a sculpture or a piece of jewelry or whatever, you haven't got an awful lot of wiggle room, except you can make different versions of those things to order. And that's obviously reassuringly a little bit more expensive than the thing you were selling initially. So if you've got a sort of real clear-cut product, good for you. It will stop you prevaricating. It will stop you prevaricating and second guessing yourself about what you should sell. So if you're lucky enough to have something clear cut, that's great. If you don't, then you're going to have to decide what service you're going to offer. Now, what I would do is I would think of it in 3 levels. I would think of what can I offer for free in return for someone's name and email, or in return for building a relationship with them online. What can I offer at a low price, and what can I offer at a higher price? So that the people who buy your low price thing, the next thing you offer them should be something that is complementary to and builds on what they've got from the first item that you've sold them. And by the way, you won't be doing any selling, you'll be attraction marketing. We don't do selling around here, because I don't actually believe you can sell things to people who don't want them. I think you need to find people who want something or a solution to a problem and then offer them something. And if it's right, they'll buy it. And if it's not, no amount of persuasion techniques will make them buy it if they don't want it. So that's a relief, isn't it? What should you offer for free? Well, the question is, I don't know, but there's probably about 10 ideas I could give you if you want to book in to have a quick chat with me. Hit the link down there and you'll find a link to my website and you can come and book yourself in to talk to me. What should you offer at a low price? Well, there's a number of things. You could offer, you could write a book. If you've already got a book, that's great. You could you could sell that to people. What I found when I wrote my last book about food, yes, I've written a book about food, not about business or money or internet marketing. The Foodie's Guide to the Marnie, which is one of my favourite places in the world. I put it on Amazon, so it's available on Amazon on Kindle, and it's also available on Amazon as paperback. But what I didn't realise was that if you don't have a Kindle, which my daughter doesn't, nobody can read it. So if you put the digital version on your website, then you sell a decent number of those, because there'll always be people who don't want to use Kindle and don't want to buy a paperback but want something digital. So that's a nice little product, isn't it? The other thing you can do is you could offer a recording of something, so that basically it's something of value. For example, I've got, oh no, I won't tell you that yet because that's in my resources. But if you could screen record yourself doing something that solves a problem that your ideal customer has, then you can then either give one of those away as a free gift, or you can actually then sell it as a low priced item. And I would always rather lots of people buying lower priced items, because it means you're less vulnerable to changes in the economics. Video coming on that shortly. Somebody's opted in, or they've friended you or followed you on social media, they've experienced your free gift, they perhaps bought your low price product. What can you offer them next? And as I say, it should be something that builds on and complements what they've already experienced with you. So it could be something along the lines of a coaching session, a consultancy session. You can set that up very easily through Calendly and actually set it up to take the payment at the same time as someone books. Or it could be something like a set of videos you recorded. Perhaps you do it live with a bunch of people first and they pay you a lower amount so you can get testimonials, and then you set it up as a product. I've absolutely got loads and loads of ideas about online products and things like that. You can set up a membership site. You can set up a podcast where people subscribe via your Patreon just because they love you. And there's lots and lots of ways of creating products online. So do talk to me, and I've got a great resource at the end for that. So mindset's good. You've found your ideal customers, or at least the first group of them you're going to aim at. You've got your free gifts and your products. What's the next thing you need to know? Your next thing is eyeballs on your offer. You need to get eyeballs on your offer, which used to be called traffic to your website. But while you want to get traffic to your website, if you don't have a website, don't panic. I'm going to give you a great resource for that in a minute as well. You can make sales directly online, so you just need to be aware of that that's possible, and then you can figure out if that's how you want to go, and then you can actually go and set it all up. But you'll need to do something to attract attention. Now, whether that's make videos on YouTube, whether that's turn the videos into a podcast, whether it's blogging. I've been doing a lot of blogging recently because I was on YouTube every day for a couple of years. And then I burnt out a little bit, so I'm going to try something new with YouTube, and I've been blogging and writing and then reading it out loud and turning it into a podcast. And that's been just great. And you can now put podcasts on YouTube. So my podcast, which is called A Better Entrepreneur, is now on my channel underneath here. If you click on the podcast tab, you'll find it. So podcasts, I actually host it on Substack, which is free to host it, and it goes out to Substack people. It goes out to my mailing list from there, and then it automatically goes on to Spotify. It goes on to Apple Podcasts. Substack's a really good place to host a new podcast just to test it out. And that will get your attention. Anything you're putting out, anything at all, whether it's a podcast or a YouTube video or a blog post, you can share it onto all the other social media platforms. And if you mix it up, if you take one bit of content that you create, i.e. a blog post, and then you, as I say, read it out loud, turn it into audio, put it together with a nice picture, and it becomes something you can put onto YouTube. You can share it onto Facebook. You can share it onto your Facebook page. You can share it onto LinkedIn. You can put it on Pinterest. I mean, the limitless possibilities. And now I'm using something called Social Bee, which basically you put in the RSS feeds of all your things. So the RSS feed of my YouTube playlists, the RSS feed of my podcast, the RSS feed of my blog, and it will go and it will bring all that stuff into Social Bee. And if I set it up so it fires something out in the morning, something around lunchtime, something in the late afternoon, and something in the evening, and then it does it at weekends too. So I know that there's constantly good content going out, and I know that because I created the content. And so it's firing it out, and it's doing, when I was putting out 5 pieces of content a week across all social media, it's now doing something like 60, 70, 80 pieces a week across all social media, but it's pulling from my archives. And the other thing it does is it, after a while, it starts to tell which bits get the best reaction and attention and interaction from the audience, and it will start to build up a bank of your best performing bits of content, and it will carry on putting them out in future days, weeks and months. Two more things to talk to you about. One is, how do you deliver your products to your customers? It can be really simple. It can just be that somehow they pay for it and you email it to them. In the early days, don't get too hung up about automation. I'm a bit of an automation freak. I always get hung up on automation before I've even gone and found the customers. So try not to do that. If you use something like Stripe, it will hook up with all the other things so that your payment system is automated and you can pay yourself straight into your bank account. And it will also, you can set it up to fire an invoice to your customer, which is really fantastic. The other thing you could use is Gumroad. Gumroad's pretty easy to set up to sell digital products with. Obviously, if you're selling physical products, it's a good idea to have Stripe, because things like Etsy, they all hook up with Stripe. So that's a really easy way to do it. And most people who've got a bank account can get a Stripe account. And the final thing I wanted to talk to you today about is cash flow management. It's no good having a business that's selling stuff if you don't know whether you're making a profit, or if you don't know how to manage your money. So again, down here somewhere, I've got a video called How I Manage My Money. And I would highly recommend it, because it walks you through step by step the simple spreadsheet I use to manage my money on a day-to-day basis. So I know at all times what my business is doing financially and what my personal finances are doing. And that's an incredible feeling of control. And it's one of the things that most scares people about being in business, is not knowing whether they're making money or when the bills are going to come, or cash flow management is a big issue for a lot of business owners. And I solve that with one video down below. Now, let's talk about the resources, okay? I'm going to have to look down for this, sorry. Resources for your mindset: Andy Shaw's Bug-Free Mind books. Absolutely fantastic. Go to the Bug-Free Mind website and you'll see some videos as well. He's got lots of little simple videos that explain. He's so good at explaining complicated things in really easy ways, so that you remember it and grasp it and can use it in your day-to-day life. Second thing is audience, your ideal customer. I've got a digital marketing cheat sheet, which is at my website, Nicola Cairncross, right now. And it basically just, you go to the website, you'll see it. And what it does is it gives you 3 prompts to put into ChatGPT, and it will help you find your ideal customer. And then you can tell it to act as your ideal customer, and you can ask it questions. So if you're not sure what, lead magnet you should be creating, what free gift you should be giving away, what low cost product you could be creating. You can actually talk to your ideal customer via GPT and ask them. And I show you how to do that in my digital marketing cheat sheet. So do come over to Nicola Cairncross and download that. Second thing, if you haven't got a product or a service, and you haven't got anything to sell physically, but you want to create a digital product, I've got a nice little training course which is called Profitable Courses, how to make a profitable course. And I did it's a recording of a paid tuition. I was paid to give this tuition to a bunch of about 25, 30 business people. And everyone who's watched it says they found it very helpful in how to make a profitable course. Don't just create a course that you don't know if anyone's going to want it or not. I'll tell you in my course how to find a market and find out what they want first before you create the course. Getting eyeballs on your offer. I've got a very comprehensive book about the whole thing of building relationships online, and the second part is about how to create what I call being everywhere online system, where you do what I've suggested earlier, which is create a piece of content and leverage it everywhere online. If you come over to Nicola Cairncross, you can either find the link to buy it online, or you can email me from there and ask for a digital copy. Say you saw me on YouTube and I said that you could have a free copy, and I'll email it straight back to you. Delivery and taking payment. So basically the resources on that I've already given you. It's Stripe or Gumroad for one-off purchases. If you want to run a membership or a recurring income project, then I would say think about using Patreon or Substack. The problem with both of those is I think they take a percentage of your income. And with Stripe, if you get really familiar with using Stripe, you can set up installments on that. So you can set up a set of 12 installments, say, if you want people to pay over a year, or you can set up a recurring membership payment through Stripe. So that's pretty handy, isn't it? Number 5, the cash flow management. As I say, there's a video underneath how I manage my money. I've also got a book called The Money Gym, which is still very relevant. There's nothing out of date in there at all. And there's another book I'd like to recommend to you called Profit First by Michael Michalowicz. And if you look for Profit First, it's a genius book on how to manage your money if you're a small business, and how to put the profit, how to make sure you get profit first, and how to make sure that you as the business owner gets paid first, without jeopardizing the rest of the business. And because most business owners do it the other way around, they get the money in, they spend what they think they need to spend, and then they don't have any profit left at the end for themselves. This way round, you get the money in, you determine how much profit you've made, you put a portion of that aside for things like overheads and future expenses, and then you get to keep the profit at the bottom. So it's a fairly radical way of looking at things, and it made a huge difference to my life too. I think that's it. I hope that helps. And after editing, I'm going to be able to use this as one of my free products at my website. So I hope by just watching me do this, you're inspired to have a go to do something similar. There will be a lot of editing because I did make a lot of fluffs. That absolutely doesn't matter. It's very easy to edit video nowadays. So I would encourage you to have a go. It's a great way of making a nice little product to either give away or sell at low cost. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Welcome your comments. If you've got any questions about how you could do this, do feel free to drop the questions in the boxes below, and I will answer every comment personally. So see you next time.